guys, welcome back to Tell Me Darling, a true crime podcast where I tell my husband Phil true crime stories. Say hi, Phil.
Hey, Phil.
Hi everyone, and I am having a stroke. I hope you're all having a good week. And we are still on week 2 of school holidays. So shout out to all the parents on school holidays right now. I'm actually enjoying them. I don't know about you, but I feel like they've been super breezy, and I quite like the slow pace of the mornings, not having to do the school rush, and I also like not being home alone.
Yeah, school holidays have been good this school holidays.
I mean, I feel like you've been really busy, so it's kind of just been me and the kids, but sometimes with our kids, they are better when it's just one parent. They're like way more chill. I don't know why. Do you notice that?
Yeah, I think when there's 2 of us, they just go, how do I say
They're
this?
too happy.
They just know, and they just go crazy.
But when it's just one of us.
They're like, you know, let's be really good for mum.
They're good for you, though.
Yeah,
you guys go and do crazy shit when I'm not around, like go to the movies and
is that crazy
go play
shit,
games. Like, you don't offer to just do that willingly when I'm home. Like, it's not. But as soon as I exit the building, he's like, fuck yeah, let's just go to the movies and do something really cool.
Yeah, I'm the
I
fun
feel like
dad.
you're trying to make me jealous.
No.
Yeah, because I get sad because I'm like, why didn't you do that when I'm home?
I'm just trying to like make the kids remember who the fun parent was.
I took them to the water park the other day, and I feel like they'll never forget that because it was so fun.
Which water park?
At Chermside.
Oh, that's it.
They had really cool slides, and it was just really good because the boys are like, Goldie wasn't there. She was at daycare that day, but they're at like this good age where like they can swim. So like I can just swim with them, and it's just like chill. It's not like, oh my God, are you drowning? Oh my God, are you drowning? Yeah. And we could go down the slides and stuff, and it was just like an awesome, fun day. Like, even for me as a parent, I wasn't like super like anxious because Goldie obviously wasn't there. If she was there, it would be like a different experience. But anyway, school holidays have been fun. I've been the fun mom. We're going to a strawberry farm tomorrow.
Are you?
To pick strawberries.
Very good.
Very good. Very exciting. The kids are excited. Anyway, that's what I've been doing mostly. Just parenting. Woo. And Phil's just been hustling hard. He's been working. I put the pressure on you a bit this week, I think. I'm stressing out, guys. I spent $400 on groceries yesterday, and I was like, what the fuck? Because normally I do like a $200 shop-ish, but we never have enough food, and then we always get takeaway. So yesterday I was like, no, I'm going to like just get lots of food, and then we're not going to have takeaway. But I was like, how do people do this every week? Like, it's insane. Our mortgage just went up, and yeah, I'm just freaking out a bit.
Just stress less, mate. It's all good. I
need a voice of reason.
It's fine.
Says the chill guy over here.
Yeah, it is what it is. It's going to be fine. You know, we always find a way.
We always find a way.
It's all good.
All right. Well, how was your week? What's your Phil's philosophy this week? Oh, did you like that? I just made that up on the spot.
Yeah. Okay. My philosophy this week is...
Fill me in.
My week, you know what? It's been busy.
Yeah.
What did we do? Worked on the weekend. And just that's it. There's not much else to say. I've been busy. You had me slaving away on Sunday painting the new lounge room, which looks...
Are you fucking joking?
Are we not meant to say anything yet?
No, you slaved away.
Yeah, I was painting all day.
We're about to fight. We're about to fight. I fucking slaved away Saturday, cutting in the whole room by myself with 3 kids while you were fucking around at the pub. And then you just had to come in a roll. You got the easiest job. Anyway, you're carrying on a bit now, so let's move on.
Carrying on, you say. Every week I'm carrying on. Yeah, I painted the lounge room.
No darling dish today because I freaking forget to put the question box up, and I put it up too late. So it is what it is.
That's slack. You need to let me take over that because I would have had it up last night, and we would have had so much dish.
We should have, would have, could have. Yeah. Next week for episode 20.
Wow.
The finale of season 1.
Are we really? This is 19.
This is 19.
And then we will have a break?
We are going to have a
people,
break.
We're having a break.
Sorry, I know you guys are like, no, but like, this is a lot of work to do every week. And we do it for free. We don't get paid. So I lose 2 days, like, writing the script and recording. And then Phil has to, like, get it together. And it's just a lot. So our plan is just to take October off, I think, and come back in the last week of October for Halloween. That's my plan.
Oh, cool.
So it's not too long. It's like 3 weeks, but it's just going to give me time to like plan ahead, plan the scripts, plan the stories so that not each week I'm just like fuck, what am I going to share this week kind of thing. You know?
Yeah.
That's all. You'll survive. You'll survive.
They will.
They will.
Yeah, that you will. You'll be fine.
Absolutely. I just got to remember to keep on the ball and not just take a 3-week holiday.
No.
Anyway, I feel like we have just fucking talked our asses off and said nothing. So let's get into today's story. I didn't do an intro. I'm sorry. I got distracted. Like, I wrote the script, but I was like, as I just sat here, I'm like, damn, I didn't do like a cool intro. But I don't actually want you to know what happens today.
You're all over the place, aren't you, mate?
School holidays. I'm living my best life. Doing nothing.
Well, let's get into it. Tell me, darling.
Thank you. Today's story takes place in the small country town of Lugoff, South Carolina. The town, as I said, was small. There were only a couple of stores, 2 gas stations, 1 high school, very low crime. Kids would ride their bikes around and catch the bus to school, and it was just a nice place to raise a family.
Wait. What year?
Let me get to it.
Oh, well, normally you say it at the very start.
Okay. Well, it's coming.
Okay.
It was also a heavily wooded area, so there's lots of trees and dirt roads and like farm style living. Elizabeth Shoaf was a 14-year-old girl who lived at home with her mum Madeline, her dad Don, and her younger brother Donnie. Elizabeth is a typical teenager. She's very smart. She's the type of girl who says what's on her mind. She's responsible. She loves music and had recently taken an interest in hard rock music, which her parents absolutely loved. Just kidding. Her parents would get home from work some days and Elizabeth's music would be blaring through her bedroom door. Really just typical teenage behavior.
Mm-hmm.
Elizabeth had just started high school that fall, which she found somewhat nerve-wracking. I think starting high school is nerve-wracking for most teenagers, but she quickly found her independence and the idea of high school became exciting. She also had just started dating and had her very own high school sweetheart, and things were looking and feeling really good for her as she transitioned into this new stage of life. Before I move forward, I should have said this at the start, but this story is about a 14-year-old girl. So if that makes you uncomfortable, then maybe skip this episode. But I feel like this story is pretty inspiring and would encourage you to listen if you can. On September 6, 2006, it was a typical Wednesday morning and a normal school day for Elizabeth, who had just awoken realizing she had slept in, so she quickly rushes to get ready so she can make it to the school bus on time. The bus stop is about a quarter mile down a dirt road, so Elizabeth's mum would drive her to the bus stop each morning and then the bus would take her the rest of the way. So this morning she's rushing and she gets in the car and they're halfway down the road when she realizes that she's left her makeup at home. And this is a 14-year-old girl, so she's just started high school and this is a big deal to her. So I can honestly relate. And she tells her mum, but her mum says like, I'm sorry, but no, we're not going back to the house. Like, you will survive one day without your makeup.
Yeah, I'd say the same.
You would, which as I've written, as a mum, I can also relate to, because there's nothing worse than getting halfway down the road and your kids being like, I forgot my shoes or something like that. And, you have to turn back. It sucks. So Elizabeth was upset about this and she's just having a normal teenage reaction. Everyone sucks. She slams the door and in a huff, she gets on the bus, mad. But she goes to school and the school day passes like any other. After school, Elizabeth catches the bus home like usual and got off with 4 to 5 other kids that she knew. They all knew each other and they were just walking home like normal. As they're walking, one of the boys who was on the bus, his brother drives past in this little tiny yellow car and he pulls over and offers them all a ride home. And everyone is like, yeah, sure. And they all squeeze into this tiny car, but Elizabeth. She knew she wasn't far from home, so she politely says, no, I'll just walk. It's not that far. And so they leave Elizabeth and she's walking home by herself.
How far was she walking?
About a quarter mile.
And is this... Okay, so from where the bus stop was to...
Yeah, she got dropped off.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So the road's about a quarter mile and her driveway was just down a hill and that was about half an acre. So it's not too far, and she does it every day. This is normal.
Okay.
So she's just walking down the dirt road and she hears a shuffling sound in the leaves to her right. And as she looks in that direction, a man begins to approach her. The man walks over to Elizabeth and says that he was with the Kershaw County Sheriff Department and that she is under arrest. So Elizabeth is stunned. She's like, what? Why? And he tells her that the police had found marijuana on her property and that another officer was with her little brother and she needed to go with him so that they could interrogate them together. Now, Elizabeth, being the elder protective sister, she wanted to make sure her little brother was okay. That's the only thing that was going through her mind. So she agrees and she's like, okay, I'll come with you. The man then handcuffs her and ties a small box around her neck and says to Elizabeth, this is a bomb, and if you do anything wrong or try to take it off, I will detonate it.
Oh shit, that changed up real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So he actually had handcuffs.
Yes.
And now he's tied a bomb around her neck.
Yes, that's what I said.
And shit's gone. Does she know now, like, hey, this ain't the popo?
Sort of. We know that this isn't standard procedure when you are arrested.
What, tying a bomb around someone's neck?
But Elizabeth is only 14. Like, she'd never been arrested. She'd never seen anyone be arrested. So she wasn't really sure what the process was of being arrested. So although this was unusual, she didn't really know that something wasn't right just yet.
Okay.
So together, they begin walking into the woods. Elizabeth could see her home through the trees as they walked. She could even see her 2 dogs and hear them barking from the house. But they continue to walk past and deeper into the woods.
What?
They continue on around the pond, which is right by her home. And as they're walking, Elizabeth is asking him, like, where are we going? Where's my brother? And he says to her, just keep walking. Your brother is right up ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Elizabeth starts to realize that something is wrong. This doesn't feel right. And she asks him again, where are we going? And the man stops and he turns to Elizabeth and says, I've kidnapped you. So he tells her, like, you're my prisoner, basically. And with this, she starts to cry. She pleads with him not to hurt her or kill her and asked him what he wanted to do to her. So he then says to her, if you give me oral sex, I'll let you go. She's like, what? Like, she's terrified and she's confused. Like, this is all happening super fast. She's still kind of trying to process. But she thinks about it and she's like, okay, well, like, maybe if I just do this, he'll let me go. So Elizabeth attempts to do as the man asked, but she couldn't bring herself to do it. This poor girl is just 14 years old. Like, she's a child. And she tells him, like, I can't do it. And the man just sighs and says to her, oh, well, and then makes her keep walking into the woods. So it's like, yeah, it's really...
It's disgusting. Making me mad already.
I can tell by your face. So it's now around 5 p.m. and Elizabeth's mum, Madeline, is at work, and she would have usually heard from Elizabeth by now to say that her and her brother were home. So she calls home to check in on them, and Donnie, Elizabeth's brother, answers, and Madeline asks where Elizabeth is, and he says, I don't know, like, she's not home yet. So Madeline knows she should have been home at least 4 p.m. at the latest.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, this isn't like her to not come home straight away. So she calls one of Elizabeth's friends, and the friend says, like, the last time I seen her was when she got off the bus at the bus stop. And instantly she feels like something is wrong. So she tells work that she has to go. Like, she's like, I don't know what's going on, but I have to get home.
Fuck yeah, I'd be outies.
Yeah.
So fast.
Meanwhile, Elizabeth is still walking with the man into the woods, and he finally comes to a stop. He kneels down and brushes a few leaves around in the ground and then grabs onto a rope and lifts it up, which then reveals a makeshift open door into the ground.
What the fuck?
It's like a plank of wood and it's like a door. So he lifts it up and there's like a big hole in the ground.
He's got a freaking trap door to like an underground bunker or something.
Yeah. So the door was like so well camouflaged. Like, you wouldn't have even known that it was there, and it was completely hidden. He tells Elizabeth to climb on in. So she climbs down the ladder he had inside.
This must be so close to their home then.
Yeah, it is. And everything is just dirty. Like, it's just a big hole in the ground. There's dirt everywhere. There's random shelves like made out of sticks, and it's just like disgusting. The man climbs down after her and padlocks the door shut behind him. Elizabeth is standing frozen and again says to the man, like, why am I here? Please don't kill me. And within minutes of her climbing down the ladder and into the bunker, the man strips her naked and assaults her. It's now later in the evening, and Elizabeth's mum decides to call 911 to tell them that her daughter is missing. And like most cases of disappearances of teenagers, initially their first thought was that she was just a runaway, especially after their little argument in the morning about the makeup. But her parents know her better, and they were adamant that this wasn't true, and they pushed for the police to help them search for her. They get a team of bloodhounds out to search the area and also start checking the sex offenders list in the area. Meanwhile, Elizabeth lay chained to a large chain link above the mattress on the floor she had been confined to, still naked. The bunker was 8 foot deep and 8 foot wide in the ground. From the bed, she could see that there was a small TV, a radio, rubbish, and dirty clothes everywhere. It was as if he had been living here for a while. The man's name was Vincent Filior, a 36-year-old temporary construction worker who was being hunted for almost a year by police for sexually abusing his girlfriend's 12-year-old daughter. By now, it was nighttime and panic had set in for Elizabeth's parents. Them, the police, their family and friends were all out looking for Elizabeth. Police even using the helicopter to conduct an aerial search of the area. In the bunker, Elizabeth could hear the helicopter. She could even hear people walking by and seeing the shadows coming through the cracks in the door from above. Vincent held his hand over her mouth and had a gun pointed at her and said that he would shoot her if she made a peep. Elizabeth lay feeling helpless. They were right there. She was right there. If only they knew that she was just 8 feet below them. How, imagine that feeling. You're like, I'm right here. Like, she would be screaming that in her mind and just having to stay there silent.
I would have just gone for it. I know it's hard to say.
She's a 14-year-old girl with a gun pointed at her. Like, she's already been assaulted.
Yeah, that's that sucks. Feeling so helpless and knowing it's like it's so close but so far away.
Yeah, literally. So the search went late into the evening and eventually was called off until the next day when it was lighter. When everyone had left Madeline, Elizabeth's mother sat and waited on the porch, hoping Elizabeth would come home. She reflected on those last moments she had with Elizabeth in the car and thought about the little argument that they had, wishing that she just told her that she loved her and praying that she would have the chance to do it again. The next day, Elizabeth's disappearance would be town news. Newscasts were reporting on it and her innocent photo was being shared on flyers around town. Elizabeth watched the news reports on the small TV that Vincent had inside the bunker. She saw her family's pleas for her safe returns and cried with them while watching the report.
Hold up. Where's this guy? How has he got power there?
I don't know. It's like, I think it might be like, from the pictures, it's like a small box. It might be like one of those like battery satellite TVs. It's not, there's definitely no power.
Yep.
Unless it's solar, but I'm not sure.
I'd love to see. Was he running like just a ridiculously long extension cord? Because how's he got the underground power? Has to be
there's no lights or anything. Yeah, I think it's all just battery.
Is there a generator? Do you need a generator?
No, because it would make sound.
Okay.
Yeah. So as each report would end, Vincent would then assault Elizabeth again. Between each casting, it was like sick foreplay for him. The search for Elizabeth continued above ground. Police were searching houses, sheds, and any empty buildings, potential suspects, and suspicious places one might hide a small teenager. The fact that she might be 8 foot underground in a bunker never even occurred to them. It's now day 3, and Elizabeth still lay there, a mile away from home, raped multiple times a day. She had to do daily chores for him, and all that they ate was ramen noodles. The toilet she had to use was made out of a broken patio chair over a bucket, and it was filthy. There was absolutely no consideration of hygiene in this bunker. Day 4 and day 5 passed, and the search for Elizabeth continued. ATV golf carts were sent out along with police on horses, but there was no news and no leads. Elizabeth's family felt helpless. Where could their daughter possibly be, and who could have done something like this?
Has he left the bunker as well during this time, or they're both just living under there?
Yeah, they're just under there. He hasn't left.
So there's fresh air coming through, or do they have to open it up every now and again?
I mean, there's like cracks and stuff. Like it's, yeah, I'm not sure exactly, but she could see like the shadows and stuff. So it's not a metal bunker. It's literally like he's dug into the ground. It's just dirt walls, dirt floors.
Fucking hell.
Yeah, I'm surprised it didn't cave in. Anyway, so as day 6 and day 7 comes and goes, Elizabeth doesn't hear people walking by as often anymore, or any more helicopters, and she figures people were either looking elsewhere or they thought that she was a runaway. Feeling defeated, all she could do was pray. But Elizabeth was smart, and she wanted to live, and she wasn't about to give up. So she comes up with a plan to get Vincent to like her and to convince him that she likes him back. She figured it would at least buy her more time. She doesn't really know what his plans are with her, and all she needs to do is get more time to figure stuff out. So she wants to make him feel like she doesn't want to leave, or like that she likes it there and that she's happy to be there.
Yep.
So she starts to act more affectionate towards Vincent, keeping in mind she's 14, right?
Yeah.
Sitting closer to him and offering signs of affection. During the rapes, she would pretend like she likes it or enjoys it, like she's not fighting back, essentially.
Yeah.
She would say to Vincent, you know, like, thank you for bringing me here. I love you. I'm happy to be here, and would call him baby. And Vincent like loves it. He actually seems to buy into what she's saying, and like he would call her baby back. And she was able to start wearing clothes again, and she was able to move like away from the bed and actually sit elsewhere, like on the floor, which I know doesn't sound like much, but she's been chained to this bed for 7 days now.
There's not much space anyway. 8 by 8. Like if you said, it's only 8 feet by 8 feet.
But like she hasn't left the mattress in 7 days is what I'm saying. I assume, other than the toilet.
How are they eating?
Ramen noodles.
Oh, okay.
I said that to you. So eventually she got to use his cell phone to play games. So Vincent had a phone, and he knew that there was no like signal under the bunker. So some mornings she would just wake up and crawl over him, and she would just play games on the floor because she was bored. Like, she's not doing anything while she's in there. So on day 8, while playing games on a sleeping Vincent's phone, Elizabeth decides that she's going to try and send a message to her mum. She knew that she was in the middle of the woods, but she didn't know where exactly. And she knew that she was in Charm Hill, and she knew that she was near construction because she could hear the trucks. She types a message to her mum that says, "Hi mum, it's Lizzie. I'm in a hole across from Charm Hill where the big trucks go in and out. There's a bomb. Call police." And she hits send, but it keeps saying fail, like every time. So she quietly sneaks over to where the bunker door is, and she holds the phone up against the bunker door as close as she could, but there was still no signal.
How come? Is she still chained up?
No, she's free to move around at this point.
How come she can't nip while he's sleeping? Just
There's
do
a
a
padlock on the door. He's locked that.
Okay.
Yeah.
From the inside.
From the inside, yeah. So trying to figure out her next move, like the phone's not working, so she goes and she puts it back, and she's like, okay, what am I going to do next? And she remembers that he has a gun, and so she spots it in like the pistol by the bed, and she sneaks over and she grabs it and she holds it against his temple, and she pulls the trigger, but it jams. And she didn't know what to do, so she just quickly put it back in the holster and acted like nothing happened. He didn't wake up
throughout all this.
No, he didn't wake up.
She was ready to blast him.
Yep, but it jams.
How do you know? Oh, man.
But thankfully, at the time, she didn't know this, but it was a pellet pistol, which I don't know exactly what it is, but it looks like...
It's like a BB gun, is it?
Yeah, so like...
Air rifle.
It would have just hurt him. It wouldn't have killed him. Then he would have reacted. So like it was kind of lucky that it worked out like that.
Yep.
So Vincent wouldn't go out during the day, and then he would start to go out at nighttime, and he would cuff Elizabeth and take her over to what he called the water hole. He would sit there and talk to his girlfriend via text, and she even asked him if he knew anything about the missing girl.
Well, hold up. This whole time he had a girlfriend as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
What the fuck?
I know. Gross. So she asked him if he knew anything about the missing girl, and he would be like, no. And Elizabeth would just sit there and stare at the stars on the moon, hoping that someone would come past and save her. She lost hope at this point. After 9 days and still no sign of Elizabeth, authorities thought it was very possible that she was not alive anymore. That was until randomly, Elizabeth's mum gets a text, and it appears to be from her daughter. Somehow, one of the texts had made it through to her mum. When Madeline receives the text, she runs into her husband, Don, and yells, "It's her!" And he says, "What are you talking about?" And she says, "Elizabeth just texted me." So she calls the police, and they have a look at the messages. And initially, when it came in, they're like, I think it's just like a joke or something. But she signed the text with Lizzie, like, it's Lizzie. And her mum is like, no, this is definitely Elizabeth, like, no doubt. Like, this is her thing. Like, this is our thing. She says, like, Lizzie, not Elizabeth. And no one else would know that. So getting the text changed everything for this investigation. They had something to work on, and they knew she was alive. The text was traced to Charm Hill, and they finally had an area to focus on. Suddenly, Elizabeth heard helicopters, and Vincent turned on the TV to watch the news, and the reports were saying that they had a lead, but they weren't saying very much.
After she had sent it, like, how has she covered it up? So
she deleted them. So
okay, so he can't see that the sent messages.
So Vincent was worried, and Elizabeth was hopeful that maybe someone had seen something or knew something, and she had no idea that her text went through.
Mm-hmm.
After tracing where the text message had come from and what phone, police realized that the phone is actually linked back to Vincent, and they were confused by this because they thought that he had skipped town, as they've been trying to find him for like 12 months. So then, in an attempt to flush Vincent out of hiding, they decide to release a statement to the media at 7 p.m. and they share that they had received a text message from Elizabeth and that they had a lead on who was responsible and what area she may be. And as her mother watched this news live on the television, her heart sank and she had a pit in her stomach, and she thought to herself, they've just killed my daughter. She was angry. Like, why would they share this information now? Like, this man would know that Elizabeth has sent the text, and like, he's going to react to that. And he did. Vincent was upset when watching this, and Elizabeth could see this. She denied everything about the text and said that it wasn't her and that she didn't send anything to anyone, and like, you know, you can check your phone and like, it's not there. She obviously like deleted them, but she was just like, it wasn't me. And Vincent like started to panic. He was pacing the bunker trying to figure out what to do next to save himself. And that's when Elizabeth says to him, you have to leave. Like, if you don't leave now, the police will find you and then we won't be able to be together. And she says, you know, like, you go now and hide until it's safe, and then I'll come and meet you and we can run away together. Like, I love you. And Vincent's like, yeah, that's a great plan.
What a fucking idiot.
He's so fucking dumb. Anyway, he agrees. He says like to Elizabeth, like, you're right, I'm going to do it. So he leaves. He goes to walk up the ladder, and Elizabeth tells him that she loves him one last time, and he says it back, and then he leaves. And she shuts the bunker door behind him and she locks it. And she sits there for a minute, just kind of like realizing the situation and that he actually left.
Like, she locks it again
from the inside.
So he can't get back in.
And then she's just like, oh my God, like, I'm alone. And like, she just lays down and goes to sleep.
What?
I think that she is just so exhausted. And like, she's like, oh my God, he's gone.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just going to lay down for a minute.
Just have a minute before she plans to escape.
Like, yeah. So during this time, it's day 10, and police get a search warrant for Vincent's motorhome and discover like porn and like makeshift bombs, like making like bomb equipment, and a hole underneath a mattress in a bedroom. And they discover an escape hatch and realize that the reason that they could never find him when they would come search his property was because he would see someone pull up and he would hide in the underground area of his house and in and around the property. Like, there was multiple bunkers and like even more proof that he was just hiding that whole time.
How much time would it take to go and dig yourself, build underground bunkers just to...
I don't know.
I kind of want to build one.
Okay.
not to do that
Okay,
stuff,
okay. Let's just move on. US Marshals triangled the call to private property just a few acres from Vincent's motorhome and Elizabeth's house.
Wow.
And at daybreak, the deputies begin their search for missing Elizabeth. They lined up 15 officers deep, arms length apart, and did a sweep of the area. Like, they were going to find Elizabeth today. Elizabeth woke up that Saturday morning and she was still alone. It was silent, and she decides like it's time to leave the bunker.
Yep.
She climbs up the ladder and out of the hole and can feel the sunlight on her skin. She looks around and she's thinking, okay, like, I'm out, he's gone, I'm alone, like, but I actually don't know where I am or which way to go. So she just starts to yell out, and she hopes that somebody would see her or hear her. And she yells out 9 times and nothing. And on the 10th time, she yells out, I'm over here, like, just really loud. She screams it. And in the distance, she hears back Elizabeth. And she starts crying because someone's heard her. The police yell out and they're like, keep talking so we can find you. And the police walk towards her. And as they're walking, there's like kind of like booby traps around. Like, there's fishing wire with like fishing hooks hanging and like planks of timber with like nails pointing up. But they're fine. They don't get hurt or anything. And Elizabeth even warns them, like, before they get close to her, that like there's bombs around. Like, you told me that there's bombs. And she just kind of stood there like a statue. I think she was even a little bit scared to take a step.
Yep.
But finally the police get to Elizabeth and they scoop her up and they carry her to the command post. And as they approach the ambulance, Elizabeth says, you know what, like, I'm all right, I'm okay, like, I can walk, like, I've got this. And she walks the rest of the way. 10 days she survived this bunker. Her mum meets her at the hospital and she was bawling. Like, it was the best feeling in the world to have her back. Straight away, Elizabeth asks about her brother and if he's okay, and that brought a tear to her dad's eye to know that after all she had been through, her first thoughts were that of her family.
Yeah.
Once Elizabeth was safe, the police went into overdrive to find Vincent. They knew that he was a danger to the community. 19 hours later, they tracked him down in the next county, less than 5 miles from the bunker, after getting a tip from a woman who he had tried to carjack and failed, might I add.
He didn't get very far.
No, he didn't. Well, he's on foot, I guess. But he was unremorseful when they picked him up. At the hospital, Elizabeth had to tell her mother that she was no longer a virgin, and her mum comforted her. I can imagine, like, as a parent, this, like, would be such a difficult thing to hear. Like, I worry enough about our children making, like, certain decisions, like, for themselves when growing up, but to know that your daughter is no longer a virgin and it wasn't by choice, like, that's so heartbreaking, and it would be so hard for her to hear. But I can imagine, like, in that moment, she's just grateful that she's in her arms and alive. While in jail, Vincent writes a manuscript describing in detail everything that he did to Elizabeth, including when, what, and how many times, and everything aligned with Elizabeth's statements. But that's not all. The plot of the manuscript would reveal that the whole kidnapping of Elizabeth was just a ploy to lure the Kershaw County Police to the bunker where Elizabeth was being held, and he was going to blow it up, killing everyone. He held a grudge for the supposed harassment relating to the prior sexual assault charges of his girlfriend's 12-year-old daughter, Amberly, a year earlier. So this whole kidnapping was never about Elizabeth. It was just a revenge to the police department, and she was just collateral damage.
So, what, he was just, was he trying to lure more people in there to blow them all up? Or
he wanted to blow up the police department. So he kidnapped Elizabeth. I feel like I wrote this very clearly. He kidnapped Elizabeth, and he was going to use her to get the police to the bunker somehow.
Okay.
I don't know when.
Yeah.
And then blow it up, killing everyone.
I see.
As like his revenge back at the police department for harassing him a year earlier.
Yep.
Yeah. It was a complete confession, and it was extremely lurid, and with this in evidence, Vincent knows his day is up, and moments before the trial began, Vincent decided to plead guilty. Elizabeth and Amberly both wrote statements for the court to ensure this never happens to anyone else. Elizabeth was too upset to speak, so Amberly spoke for the both of them, asking the judge to put him away forever so that he could never do this to another person. In the end, the manuscript sealed his fate, and Vincent was sentenced to the maximum sentence, 421 years, with no parole.
Good.
Vincent died on the 3rd of May 2021 in his jail cell.
How old?
In his 50s.
Died from natural causes, get beat up.
I didn't get that
50
far.
Still young.
Yeah, I don't know. It could be a natural cause. It didn't say that he was murdered or anything, but I didn't really care. The bunker where Elizabeth was held captive for 10 days was blown up. Elizabeth Shoaf's journey to recovery has been challenging and marked by battles with panic attacks, PTSD, and extensive therapy. While she faced moments of deep depression along the way, she takes comfort in the fact that her life has been filled with far more moments of joy and resilience. Elizabeth is living proof that she is not just a survivor, but also proof of the human spirit's remarkable ability to hear and overcome adversity. And that is the survival story of Elizabeth Shoaf.
Wow. Well, I'm glad it was a survival story.
Yeah.
Absolutely shitty situation. But yeah, that's man, that's crazy. But kind of smart. It just sucks that she had to do that, but I guess that's what she had to do
it's
to
disgusting
survive.
That she had to. But like 40, like you thought
to
of
think,
that at
like
14?
to even think, to be able to, I just pretend that I like him, so he's like
manipulate.
Because if she was to try and just keep on trying to scream and get away, it could have been a lot worse.
Yeah. Well, she realized that very quickly. She's like, when I fight, he's aggressive, but when I don't, he's not. And she was able to piece that together and like make that decision to like survive, which I think is so. It's so, I can't like even think of the word, but she's so strong.
So it was 2006, was it? Mm-hmm. She was 14.
Yeah.
Damn, that's only, she's only a couple of years younger than us now, is she?
She's 30, I think she's 32. She's the same age as me now, 31 or 32. Yeah.
Damn.
I know, crazy. But
Yeah.
what a remarkable woman now, but a girl. Like, that's just such a, I just thought that was such a, like, crazy story. And I just, I don't know, just something about, like, how she was like, you know what, not today.
Yeah.
Not me, not today. And did what she had to do, which I thought was really brave.
Well,
so, shout out to her.
Yeah, shout out to her. But I'm glad fucking old mate died.
Yeah.
I don't care how he died, but he did. Hope he got raped in jail.
Oh.
Hard.
Well, they don't do well in jail, those
The rape
pedophile
Yeah, good.
offenders. So, anyway, he dead.
Yeah.
Heavy, I know. I don't like to do anything to do with children for the most part. And the only reason I was like, I'm going to share this one is because she survived.
Yeah.
Still hard to research, still hard to read. Yeah, I think my first paragraph, like when I talked about her going into the bunker, I was supposed to say rape, but I said assaulted because like I was like, oh, this is heavy. Like I had to like switch up the wording as I was reading.
And don't think you need to say it. People already know.
Yeah, for sure. Anyway, that was her story, and that's it for this week. So I will catch you guys next week for another episode. I already know what I'm doing. It's been highly requested, and I've been like reading and listening to stuff. I already know the story, but I'm just obviously like finding out more, and it's not going to be a great one next week. I have to admit it, but
cool.
It was requested, and you guys want to hear the story, so I'm going to share it. And
am I gonna like it?
No, you'll hate it. Everyone will hate it. It's not a great story. It's an Australian one.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're gonna end the season with that one because I think it's gonna be quite long, possibly, and sad.
Okay.
Unfortunately, but I'll catch you guys next week.